Sharp, sharp. Now, let's get to another issue now. Now that we have analyzed your demographic data as displayed here, the question is, how do you take it now to your main document? Here is what we do. And then what you can do is, you see these arrows. When I hover my cursor here, there's always an arrow that pops up here. Another one is another one. If I click on this arrow, this one, it highlights everything, all the two tables. If there were 4, it would highlight all of them. 3, all of them. 2, all of them. Good. But if I hover my mouse, if I click on this one, I'm only going to copy the contingency table, this table only. If I take this one, if I click here, I'm only going to take this one. But because I want to take everything, I may click here, and copy. Copy, and then we are going to paste all these results on our main document. Now, let me stop sharing and reshare the Word document on which we are going to paste. Where is that document? Good, there we go. Now, this is now your main document, chapter X, chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter what, which is the results and discussion. Now, let's click here and paste our stuff. Paste it. There we go. Now, remove this continuous table thing. Remove it. And then what you can do, it doesn't look nice. And then let me click here, and then let me click here, and then pull it here. You pull it up until you feel, it doesn't look good. And that looks good. That's enough. You pull this one again. Escape. Pull. Play around up until you feel good and comfortable. Looks nice. Once you've done this, what we can do now is to rename these variables. Okay, click them. And this was marital, I think marital status, status. And then, okay, the spelling is not good. Click here and then left indent it. Looks nice. Then change D1. D1 was actually gender. You can see that. Gender. Now, does it look good? Good. Looks nice. And then click here, and then this is table number 1. If this is the first table in chapter, let's say this is your chapter 4. This is your chapter 4. This will be table number 4.1, meaning table number 1 of chapter 4. So there you go. But now we don't want to say that. We can say, it all depends on you. You can say marital status, maybe versus gender. You can use your multiracial English here. Now I'm using my default primary English here. There you go, versus whatever. Yeah. Then this is the second table. This can be table 4.2. 4.2. Let's copy this one. I may have several tables that are labeled contingency, chi-square, but how will I differentiate them? Let me put these as a differentiator. Maybe I'll have another table and pull. Looks nice. Just play around up until you feel it looks nice. Looks nice. But there's distortion here, the p-value, there's a shifting. I can highlight all these ones and then center them. Everything is under everything. Nice. And then I can also highlight them. Center. Things look nice. Things look nice. Very nice now. Then they are separate. I can separate. I can unseparate. Yeah, looks nice. So how you pull this is up to you. Just pull it the way it looks nice. Something is wrong here. Marital status test. Maybe I can say test knows. Yeah, feel good. This is table 4.1. This is table 4.2. Everything looks nice. It is that time now to analyze. To report. You need to report your what are these things? Your demographic data. Good. Now, I've already done that for you. Let me do this. Yeah, I want you to just done it. I was just showing you how to. There you go. Now I'm reporting. This is the very report. Your tables should look like this, not a table with cells, square, what. These are professionally looking tables. Your tables should look like this, not these things like from Excel with cells. No. Should be like that. Good. Now let's read. Now let's read through. Every time you report, you must make reference to the tables. You cannot report without making reference. Now, I need to change this to say it's table 4.1, it's table 4.2. Now, I don't know the font size, it's not an issue here. Okay, justified. Now, look at it. Tables 4.1 and 4.2 represent the distribution of participant gender by marital status. Maybe you can even you can change this to say by. I told you can use your multiracial English. I don't know English. I can only guide you through this data analysis thing. As for the English, don't know with me. Good. Tables 4.1 and 4.2 represent the distribution of participants' gender by marital status and the results of the chi-square or chi-squared test. Think test. Doesn't matter. Examining the relationship between gender and marital status, respectively. Nice. So you see that we have made reference to the tables. Make sure that when you do your reporting, you make references to your tables. The chi-square test revealed that the relationship between gender and marital status was not statistically significant. Exactly what I talked about in my previous video. Now, the moment you say this, look at this. The results, not statistically significant, or was statistically significant, but this one is not statistically significant. Perhaps I can remove this if I like. Was statistically non-significant. I can use non-significant. Maybe hyphen, I don't know correct English. Non-significant and not the same thing. Okay, let me leave it in the default. Was not statistically significant. The moment you say that, you must provide evidence from your tables. And which table do you look at? You look at your chi-square table. Now you see that this is the chi-square sign, which is this one. It looks like an X, but it is a chi-square, is not an X, but it looks like an X. And then you put in bracket degree of freedom. This DF here, DF. You take this value. If it was a 3, you just take it. You don't have to worry. You did not generate it. The JASP generated it for you. So you put the degree of freedom always here. If it was 10, you put 10 in this bracket. And then what is the value of chi-square? The value of chi-square is 3.72. That 0 doesn't say anything. Good. Then you drop the p-value. The p-value is what is this one, 15.6% or 0.156 as the probability value against which you judge the relationship compared to your significance level of 5%. Because we said this is way above 5%, the results are not significant. And you can see not significant from your previous video. So what you can do, make sure that this one is in italics, make it, it doesn't matter if you don't put it, but put it in italics. So you see the reporting, this is the format of the reporting. The format of the reporting, you put the chi-square, in bracket, you put the degree of freedom, and then you give the value of the chi-square, and then you put evidence, the p-value, exactly the way we've done it. Now, the sample consists of, sometimes you could, instead of this sentence, you see this sentence, this one, that follows, a sample of 30. It is 30 because it comes from here. We might remove it, you may remove it, and if you do, always put your n, that is the sample, equals 30, and then comma, and then italic these things. We are trying to move towards what is called APA format of reporting. You see, The secret in this particular reporting is in how you write your results. Now, I said table 1.4 represent the distribution of this the chi-square revealed not statistical significant. Even if you were saying statistical significant, you would put evidence, and these would be your guide. You put the corresponding p-value here. So therefore, listen, therefore, based on these results, the researcher, I made a mistake here. Researcher, man, not an editor. Editors will do their homework. Now, I will have done my part. Linguistics, this thing is left for linguistics, whatever. Good. The researcher cannot conclude that there is sufficient evidence for meaningful association between gender and marital status in the population from which the sample was drawn. Then how you say this is your own baby, you can use your very strong English to say that. But if I were to mark this, the only thing that I have to look at, what is very important for me is this. This is very key for me as the mark. And more important is how you report your answer. I mean, your values. So your demographics, this is how you report your chi-square test. I think you have learned. Thank you very much. Let me see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Don't forget to subscribe to my video channel so that every time I load something, you'll be notified.